Hello psychology students, Professor Zeeb here, and welcome to the study guide orientation video tutorial. So basically I'm going to show you how the study guides work. I get a lot of questions about the study guides and hopefully we'll knock some of those out. Remember, you can always email me if you have specific questions or see me in class if that is the case. So I've listed and posted study guides for each exam. So here we have, as you see, the study guide for exam 1. It will be on chapters 1 through 4. So just some general points here. Make sure you focus on those key terms for each chapter, the vocabulary words. And I'm going to recommend that you use flashcards to help you review those. So those will be heavily tested. So make sure you're familiar with those key terms. General concepts for each chapter, including research. So what I sort of mean by that is the book often uses studies and research to enrich and support the discussion. Make sure you're aware of those studies and the findings of those studies. Key concepts presented in lecture. Just kind of remember that occasionally in class there will be stuff mentioned that is not necessarily in the book. So it's very important to obviously go over your notes, and if you're absent, get the notes from a classmate. So please be studying your lecture notes, of course. Alright, so getting to the chapters themselves. So I've listed each chapter 1 through 4, as you can see here. And what I've done for each chapter is I've listed the major headings. So if you have your book with you, and this would be a good point to get it if you don't have it, you'll notice that the section headings are red in color, so you want to get familiar with that. So for example, in chapter 1, one of the headings here is major philosophical issues in psychology. So basically, if I list that section, that sort of indicates that you would need to know all of the information, including directly under that heading. You need to study and be familiar with that information and know it, of course, for the exam. If we go down a little bit further here, the early era. So there's a section called the early era. And you'll notice I put a parentheses here and listed some subsections. Once again, this will make sense if you have the book in front of you. These are indicated in a blue color font. So what I mean here, what this is sort of indicating is that I have tossed something from that particular section. So you would only need to focus on these specific sections. In other words, read that entire section to the next subsection. And if it's not listed here, then you would not need to know it. So that once again means that something has been tossed. I want to encourage you to read the entire chapter. It's all important stuff. But for purposes of the exam, we're going to go with these sections. Now, as you go through the chapters, you're going to notice that I have tossed entire sections. So you'll notice that some of them may not be here, so that means that you would not need to know it. A little word of warning here. If we go over it in class, that is fair game for the exam. So what I'm saying in terms of the exams, guys, is that you need to know these sections and the information that I have covered in class. Okay? So you'll see that I've listed each chapter and I have thrown out entire sections. I'm going to recommend that you have these study guides with you when you're going over the chapters. This will save you time. So you do not need to know the entire chapter, only these sections and of course what we cover in class. Okay, so make sure you have those handy and ready to go. Please email me if you have any questions there, and we'll see you in class.